Welcome back to another edition of Our City. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On Thursday, April 13th, the Health and Human Services Department, the Office on Youth, will hold the final round of their spelling bee contest. This is for grades 1 through 4. This event will take place at the main branch of the Elizabeth Public Library, located at 11 South Broad Street. For more information, please call Julie Muldrow at 908-820-4203. On Friday, April 14th, please be advised that City Hall will be closed in observance of Good Friday. We'd like to extend at this time good wishes for all those who are celebrating Easter on Sunday, and then as we move into the Passover season as well. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. And please stay with us. After these messages, we'll be back with more talking about Environmental Day, which will occur on April 28th here in the city of Elizabeth.
Why do we like it here? Let's just say the reasons are diverse. Kean University.
Welcome back to Our City. As we talk about Environmental Day on April 28th, I am pleased to be joined by Dr. Craig Donovan, who's a Director of Public Administration here at Kean University, Miss Sara Mustafa, who is an undergraduate chemical engineer major at NJIT, and Miss Diana Vivanco, who graduated from NJIT with an industrial design degree. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So on April 28th, Future City, which all of you have been members of, and the Arthur Kill Watershed Association have planned another exciting Environmental Day event here in the city. Dr. Donovan, you've been with Future City from the very beginning. Discuss your organization's role, and you're a professor of public administration here.
That's
Are
right.
you my boss here since I teach on the adjunct course, or not really?
From time to time.
From time to time?
From time to time, I have that
And
happen.
how does that happen? Whoever the chairman is?
Right, whoever's the coordinator of the program
Oh, okay.
oversees that. So that's one of many hats I wear, including being a founding member of Future City, which is a nonprofit located here in Elizabeth, and it's dedicated to sustainable development in our area. One of the entities within Future City is the Elizabeth River Watershed Association, including the Arthur Kill. And one of the events that we host is Environment Day. We've been doing that now for 16 years. And it takes place at the Peterson Community Center. And the idea is to bring science students from all around the town to come in, learn about the environment, learn about Elizabeth, and learn what it means to be an environmental steward.
Thank you very much. I mean, it sounds fascinating. You've been active with Future City since it started, right?
That's correct. That was one of the very first things I did when I came here.
So, Diana, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, you're a little new to the show. You haven't been here before, have you?
Yes, it's my first time.
This is your first time on the show.
Yeah.
And Estuary Day. So, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself first, and then we're going to talk about Environmental Day and Estuary Day.
Sure. I'm an NJIT graduate as an industrial designer. I started working in Future City as part of the work study program. I'm being involved in Environmental Day. This is going to be the second year as a project coordinator for Environmental Day. For me, it's important to be part of the Environmental Day, and I want to thank the city and the City of Elizabeth, Future City, the Board of Education, and the workshop partners for the joint effort to have a successful Environmental Day. We have been working 6 months in advance, paying special attention to prepare the students with developed preparation materials. They're going to be reviewing basic concepts about the environment. So the goal is when they go to Peterstown, they are ready to interact with the workshop. So it's for their benefit to get the most of the information that they offer.
So, Diana, are you an Elizabeth girl? You go to school here too? Did you go to Elizabeth Grammar School or high schools?
No, but I went to UCC. I came when I was 21 years old.
Okay,
I've
so-
been living in Elizabeth 10 years.
So you went to Union County College?
Yes.
And that's how you hooked up with Future City, through them?
No, through work study through NJIT.
Oh, work study through NJIT,
Yeah.
so it was even before then. Okay.
Yep.
Well, thanks. Thanks for taking the time to join us on the show.
Thank you.
Dr. Donovan's been here before, so it's always good to have new people on the show. Sarah, you've been here before, right?
Yes, I've been here before.
You're an old hand at this, so this is easy for you. So first, tell us a little about yourself, and you've been with Future City for a number of
Yeah,
years,
I know,
correct?
for many
I think I
years.
met you as really young.
I know.
Yeah,
I was a freshman or maybe a sophomore. I was a sophomore in high school when I started
Right, in
FCI.
high school you are, right?
Exactly, in FCI. That's when I started FCI. In the beginning, I was like, was a little shy. I didn't know what I was doing. But once I started coming to FCI, I was introduced to so many projects, like science projects there, and then how they have this not only Estuary Day or Environmental Day, they have so many other events that can boost up your confidence, your public speaking skills. So that's where that was like my platform where I learned the initial skills to find out what career I wanted to take. Now I'm studying chemical engineering at NJIT, but I think one of the basic things that led me to where I am today is definitely my participation in Environmental Day and events like that and research that I did at FCI.
So you're telling me at one point, Sarah, you were very shy?
Well, definitely. I was very shy, actually. I was like, it's not that I was shy. I was really resistant. I didn't really knew how to interact with people. I was like, always like, moving away from the crowd. So I think now I'm like totally another personality. Now I love talking. I love making connection. And it's really, it's part of the day now.
Did you go to Elizabeth schools?
Yes, I went to Dwyer.
You went to Dwyer House?
Yeah, I went to Dwyer High
and
School.
that's when you started with this as a sophomore?
Yeah, I started Dwyer I was a freshman when I started school here.
No, but I'm saying in the Future City, you started as a sophomore in high
Yeah, I
school?
started as a sophomore in high
So
school.
how was Environmental Day and the other events, did they help in your choice of majoring in chemical engineering?
Yeah, definitely, because when you go to the event like Environmental Day or events like this, you're not meeting maybe scientists or engineers or doctors. You're meeting people from different backgrounds. Like they're not very specific to one major or one specific field. You're getting to know the STEM field from a very broader aspect. So I think that's where I got to know that I cannot only be a doctor or a teacher. There are so many more alternatives that I can take and I still be able to give back to the community the same way I want to. So I think they definitely help, yeah.
So what do you study in chemical engineering?
Oh, we do study a lot in chemical engineering. It's definitely a study of the processes. It's not chemicals. When you think of chemical engineering, you think of chemicals, but it's not only chemicals. It's like chemicals, but involved with math, with science, with physics, everything combined together. So that's what chemical engineering is to me.
And you like it?
Yeah, I like it. I love it.
Good for you. So Diana, tell me about what's important about preparing the students for Environmental Day?
Actually, our mission in Future City is to educate the community about our environment. Through the years, we learned that a significant amount of students don't even know we have a waterfront. Elizabeth has a river, so when they go to Pierstown, when they go to Environmental Day, it's the first time they hear about what is a blueway, what is a estuary. The idea to have them prepare in advance the concepts and be familiar what we have or what we have in the environment help them the interaction between the partners, and they can explain better and they can ask better questions and get better information. So it's very important for us. We receive actually feedback from the workshop partners. This is going to be the second time we're doing this, having them learn the concepts before coming to the Environmental Day, and it helps. The conversation is better, the experience is better, and we can see them smiling and discovering the ecosystem and being part of the community. So,
well, Diana, I have to tell you, until I started going to Future City events and I met folks there, I didn't know we had an estuary. I didn't know what an estuary was. So I had to look it up. Look at Sara laugh over here at me. Probably sad.
I'm sorry about that.
I think it happens a lot. It happened to me. I mean, it was like, I didn't know we have a story in Elizabeth. And actually, now I'm proud of the waterfront. I take my family when they want to visit Elizabeth and take them. I take them to the waterfront and visit the poor, and it's beautiful. And we want the students take the families and go together and enjoy the environment.
What you just said made the whole show. I mean, so when you do that and you go there with your family, do you also point out, like, hey, I do this, or I work with Sara on this, or I work with Dr. Donovan on this issue? Do you point out some of the things you do at Future City to the family members?
Sure, and actually, we have people in the waterfront fishing and having, and we it's a conversation starting to say, oh, there is a program that we encourage to catch and release, and because of these aspects that we have in the water and the story and the CSO that go to the water, and it's a conversation started, and actually they learn about the environment, and it feels good to embrace or how we contribute to the whole system and the healthy of everybody. Yeah.
So, Dr. Donovan, you come from a different perspective than these two young ladies, as they are students, and you are a professor, so you get to interact with the students from a different angle, naturally, as a professor. But you've been involved in Environmental Day from the very beginning, and we know it's important to the city. But how do you find the importance to the partners and the students that are involved from your perspective?
Well, from the partners' point of view, we have a number of wonderful partners, the Coast Guard, the Army Corps of Engineers, every year are out there working. It gives them a chance to put a human face on what they do, the people who do these kinds of projects, who work so hard to develop and maintain our environment for us. From the community point of view, and particularly from the students, the environment's a generational issue. It's something, it's not there just in my lifetime or your lifetime, but it's something that we improve and maintain and pass down from generation to generation. So when we bring the students in and they get a chance to learn about what the environment is, about the estuary, about the river, the waterfront, where the water goes that goes down the drain, they start to learn that it's their environment, and they start to become stewards of this as they grow older and become the citizens and the parents and the grandparents of the future. So it's so important that we have an opportunity in an event like this where we can bring all the different partners and all the different generations together and help them learn and what they can do to sustain and maintain the world we live in.
Do you think the students get something out of this, or the partners, and what do you think specifically the students and or the partners get out of this from their perspective?
Well, I think the students in particular take something they read about, something they hear about, and they get to see it and touch it and interact with it. And through working with the partners and the presentations and all the events, it becomes real to them. It's one thing to say, keep the environment clean, don't do this, don't do that. But when you can go down and actually see and touch what this means, you can see your own waterfront and you can say, this is what I'm talking about. This is what it used to be like. This is what it could be again if we're not careful. That's the only way that you're going to really preserve the environment and make things better in the future.
So, Sara, tell me about, we just heard Dr. Donovan's perspective from a professor's point of view. And as a student and a future engineer, what is your point of view on Environmental Day, and why is it important? Because you've been doing it since high school years,
Yes.
and now you're a senior in college. So tell us your perspective on this.
So as I mentioned before, that when you go to the events like this, you are actually exploring your new ideas and your new ways that you have never done in a classroom or in a school maybe. So when you go to the events like this, you're not limited to one career option or one choice. You get to see the world from a bigger perspective, as I mentioned before, that you have so many career opportunities out there you don't realize if you just live inside your shell. Unless you go to the events or the opportunities like this, you would never figure out that there are careers waiting for you. Like there are so many excited careers you just wouldn't hear about. So one of the biggest advantages of going to the events like this is you get to figure out that there is a lot more opportunities out there. So that's what I would recommend that students.
So what kind of
fill out.
opportunities have you figured out that were out there that you didn't know until you got involved in this?
Okay, so you don't need to be an environmental science scientist or an environmental engineer to work for the environment. You could be actually a lawmaker and be working with NJIT. So it depends on what route you want to take to get to where you want to be. As a chemical engineer, I can definitely work with EPA. So they do hire engineers. So they're not, your opportunities and your passion should not be restricted. And you figure that out when you go to the events like these.
And before we go to the break, explain to our audience why Environmental Day is a litter-free event.
Oh, since we are practicing a really good a healthy environment practice, so what are we gonna, for that day, for Environmental Day especially, we would have students, they would have their own little bags with them, they would clean that, and on the Environment Day, they would clean after them, and I think it's a great practice to let them know that this is our responsibility. If we create a mess, we gotta clean it. So I think it's a message that we are giving to the students that to keep our city clean and green, we gotta make sure that we take care of our own litter.
We're gonna take a break, run a couple of commercials, come back more, talk about Environmental Day and some of your perspectives, okay? Please stay with us after these messages, where I'll be back with more with Craig, Diana, and Sara.
We're an American original, dependable, historic, nuanced, with all the comforts of home, even when you're just visiting. So we're celebrating for all that we've left untouched and all that we've changed. A place where the past meets the future. So consider this your invitation.
We've been celebrating here in Elizabeth for 350 years, and we're just getting started. Welcome back to our city, where I'm pleased to be joined by Sara, Diana, and Craig talking about Elizabeth Environmental Day. And Diana, I want to open up with you about Environmental Day contributes to the local understanding of resilience and, more importantly, climate change, which has been in the news a lot lately.
Yes, actually, we believe that good stewardship at the local level helps people to understand and see in the real life how our decisions affect the environment, how we contribute to the climate change, how we live with the environment, and what we do with the environment affect us, and the air pollution affect us, and everything start with us and our families, our friends, our community. And the idea is to pass the word and have everybody take conscience of their choices and work together as a community.
Well, when you talk about climate change, March of this year, last month, was colder than February. And it's the second time, it's only happened two other times in the last 124 years. The last time being 1984, when March was colder than April. That's wacky.
Yeah. And
snow in April. Who figures that?
These are facts, and people live. We live every day with climate change, and we should take an attitude that it's real and it's happening. And we have the reports of the ice in the poles, and it's disappearing. And we have to understand that our decisions affects is not only the government, it's not only the city, is us. It's how we manage our litter, or how we manage, or if we recycle, or how much water we use, or how long you take showers. It's a small change that affect. And so
I have to get you to my house. My daughter takes a shower. It must be 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, I'm going to need you to come over and tell her that. Dr. Donovan, you've been doing this project for 17 years now. Have you seen differences in not only the community, but the process? And what do you think the contribution of Environmental Day to the community is? Kind of two questions there.
I think one of the changes is that every year we've seen a growth in the awareness of the environment at the local level. We've seen a growth in the enthusiasm and the participation from the students. I saw last year the child of one of the students I saw the first year. So you're seeing this generational effect where people are understanding at a very fundamental level that you think global but you act local, that this is our world, and that the little things I do on a daily basis have a tremendous impact, not just on Elizabeth, but on the climate of the planet as a whole. And that it's not something that somebody else does, it's something that we have to do ourselves. And that's grown and grown as the event has grown over the last 17 years.
And Sara, you know, one of the things we talked about at the break was the Environmental Day and the dynamics of Environmental Day, as well as the workshops that are planned for that day. Can you talk a little bit about that, Sara?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, I want to appreciate the Future City, the City of Elizabeth, and Board of Education for putting the Environmental Day together, for putting the effort for so many years to make this happen every year. So it's a great effort from their side. This year, we are expecting almost more than actually 175 kids. 175 kids are planning to attend the Environmental Day, which is really exciting. So these kids would be attending the workshops. They would be having a hands-on experience. You know, they would be playing little games that are very scientifically oriented.
Did you play those games when you were there?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
It was fun. So now it's their chance to play those games and get to know more. And they would also see that how good environmental practice is being done in real life. And other than that, we have our partners that would be demonstrating different workshops. We would have U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They would be talking about a regional view of the estuary and the city of Elizabeth. And we would have Coast Guard. They would be talking, their workshop would be about you know, they are the first one to respond to any kind of environmental emergency. How do they do it? And then we would have New Jersey and New York Baykeepers there. They play a very phenomenal game. So it's like about the web life, and it also relates to the climate change. So it's really fun. Students enjoy it so much. And then we would have Elizabeth High Schools. We would have Dwyer Academy, and then we would have Addison Academy. They would display their workshops. And we would have Nosotros. Nosotros is in their workshop, they talk about what alternative spring break that they have, and they have winter breaks. So students come and join FCI and Nosotros during their break and be productive in their break. And then we would have an NJ and we would have NJIT Chemie Club. They would also be presenting their work as well there. And we would have, of course, we are thankful to the Kean University for providing their studios, and we have a platform to communicate. And then there would also be a workshop on geohealth. In the geohealth, that's where it's from Rutgers University. It's a workshop on GIS and mapping. So I think the people who would be coming to attend the Environmental Day, we would take advantage of all these workshops, really great workshops. And at the end, I would like to appreciate Historical Society, Elizabeth Historical Society, for their phenomenal workshop at the end. I think this is probably the only workshop that talks about the ecology of the Elizabeth and our city and how it interacts with climate change and how it has an impact on environment. So I would really, recommend people to come and join us and take advantage of these great workshops.
I'm still baffled that you thought you were shy at one point in your life. I'm still trying to figure that out, Sara. So the Environmental Day activity, Diana, the day, are there changes made this year from last year in the actual day? What kind of changes have happened, if any?
Actually, based on the feedback from the participants and the workshop partners, we reduce the amount of the students coming. We want really have an interactive workshops with the partners. So we reduce the amount of students. We also are enforcing these preparation materials and having them prepare. So this what a few changes we're making.
Sara, have you seen changes from when you first started, since you're like the veteran here besides Dr. Donovan? Have you seen changes in the during the day?
I think, as Craig said, that the number of participants has increased so much, and I think the Historical Society, I think it's a lot more fun now. In our time, they used to have a map, and now they have a lot more other stuff with them to show. So I think that's unfair to us because we didn't get to play with it. Now the high school kids gets to play with it. So yeah, that's
so it's more of a fun process.
Yeah, it's more of a fun process.
More of a learning process.
Exactly.
You worked harder.
Yeah, we worked harder. Now kids get to enjoy it more than we did.
That's the process in this country, though. By the way, the parents get to work harder than the kids. Supposedly, the kids have new challenges, though, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So, Dr. Donovan, where's the future going? Where do you see Environmental Day? or Estuary Day. You've been doing this 17 years. What happens 17 years from now?
Well, I'd like to hope that things continue to improve. You and I are old enough to remember when smog was bad and you couldn't see the skyline. When the Cuyahoga River was so polluted it caught on fire in Ohio. And we fought really hard to preserve the environment and protect it, and we thought that was over. And now we're finding once again that maybe there are people who've forgotten those days. So my hope is that this event and other events like it
Was that a political
continue
statement?
to grow. I think it's a statement of reality.
Okay. You're so clever.
Well, you know, it's easy. Things are much better now than they used to be, but it's easy to forget how bad they were and how easily they could get bad again if we don't care and participate. So I'm hoping that these events at the local level will continue to push us forward to a cleaner, better environment for our children and our grandchildren.
I would think the next 4 years are going to be difficult for environment.
I'm afraid you're very right, that people who are making decisions now may have forgotten about how bad things were and how easily they can get bad again.
Or they just don't care.
Or they just don't care.
So Diana, who can come to Environmental Day? Anybody?
Actually, we are working with the Board of Education. The kids coming to Environmental Day are students that have shown interest in science. They're picked by the teachers and the schools, and there are going to be like around 175 students coming.
So it's not only Elizabeth High School, it's St. Mary's and Benedictine Academy too. The private high schools come too, do they? Or
we have Patrick School coming,
Yeah.
as a private school, yeah.
It's fascinating to see the kids there. I enjoy this tremendously to see all these kids. So let me ask you this, Sarah. When you went, did you think it was good to get out of school for the day, or do you think it was really good that you were learning something about the environment?
Definitely. And I remember when it was my first time at the Elizabeth Environmental Day, and you said this. You said the more question you ask, the longer you get to stay. And I still remember that.
You still remember that, right?
Remember that. So I think it's good. It's fun for the kids that they're getting out of their class, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity for them to learn. They might know it or not, but even though they're there, they're getting a day out of school, but still they're learning. It's very different from what you actually learn in class. Your professor in the class or your teacher in the class could be telling you from your textbook that this is bad in environment, this is what we need to improve. But in the class it's different. You're seeing the same guy every day. You're going to the same classroom every day, same textbook every day. So when someone different says the same thing in a different environment with hands-on stuff, that's when you get to learn more. So I think from my perspective, it's a great day for students. They get to learn, but at the same time, they would have to have fun.
It's like when your parents tell you something, you don't believe them, but if a good friend tells you, you believe the good friend. Right? Same thing, right?
I know, it's very similar, yep.
Yeah. I want to thank the three of you for taking the time to join us on the show.
Thank you.
I don't think we missed anything, right?
No.
We kind of covered everything. I look forward to seeing you on April 28th. All you going to be there?
Yep, sure.
Good. Well, then thank you very much for taking the time, and look forward to seeing you on April 28th, Environmental Day in the city of Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same here.
For Dr. Craig Donovan, for Miss Diana Vivanco, and Miss Sara Mustafa, I'm Chris Bolwage. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.
We're creating tomorrow's jobs today. Kean University.